All right, guys, we're going to talk about Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy. And usually when we mention the name of Kathleen Kennedy, some type of identity politics is usually going to follow her. Now, Kathleen Kennedy was at the BAFTA Awards. And of course, someone asked her a question about female directors in Star Wars movies. So we're clarifying that movies, not TV shows, because we know that Deborah Chow, Bryce Dallas Howard, they've already directed episodes of The Mandalorian. But now Kathleen Kennedy confirmed that a female director will be directing a Star Wars movie. She said, "Oh, absolutely, without question." Now, she was speaking to BBC News at BAFTA, and she was asked about whether or not a woman director would helm a Star Wars feature film in the future. And she said, "Oh, absolutely, without question." Now, of course, I'm pretty sure people were applauding, that's what SJWs do. But I'm not too sure that Kathleen Kennedy will be around at that point. For one thing, Kathleen Kennedy, her contract ends next year. Now, will she actually be sticking around after her contract? I'm not so sure about that. For one thing, Bob Iger is truly in charge of Star Wars overall. Does he actually want her back? Because Star Wars movies have really been on the decline. And Kathleen Kennedy is the president. She's no Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige has been on the up and up with the MCU. Star Wars, not so much. It's seen much better days. Now, if you look at Kathleen Kennedy's track record, she was appointed Lucasfilm president in 2012 by George Lucas himself, right before he sold the company to Disney. And Kathleen Kennedy, she is one of the biggest SJWs out there in Hollywood. She's always talking about women this, women that. And I think she's even mentioned female directors before in the past. But the thing is, it's been 8 years, Kathleen Kennedy. Why haven't you had a female direct a Star Wars movie? Now, me personally, anybody that knows me, I'm not an SJW. I don't care about who's actually directing a Star Wars movie based on what's between their legs. I care about who's directing a Star Wars movie based on their qualities. Just because you're a female, just because you're a male, doesn't mean that you can make a Star Wars movie. But of course, Kathleen Kennedy, she's all into identity politics. But let's look at her track record. Let's look at the first movie that came out. We'll go movie by movie. The Force Awakens, J.J. Abrams, white male. Second movie that came out, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, Gareth Edwards, and then he was fired and they brought in Tony Gilroy, two white males. Then you get The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson. You know all about him already, white male. Then after that, Solo, a Star Wars story, Lord and Miller, two white males. They got fired, brought in Ron Howard, white male. Then after that, you got, and Solo lost money, by the way, just throwing that in. But after that, you got J.J. Abrams, The Rise of Skywalker, white male. Then there was also a rumor about James Mangold coming in to do a bounty hunter movie. Didn't happen, but white male. Benioff and Weiss, they were going to make a Star Wars trilogy, white males. Now they walked away. Do you see the track record here? So can you actually truly trust what Kathleen Kennedy says? I don't think so. SJWs, they'll be happy today. Tomorrow, they would be pretty upset. But not only that, look at this. Kathleen Kennedy also said that the trilogy format is dead in the movies. They're not going to do it anymore. But Disney CEO Bob Iger, her boss, said, "Oh, no. We never said that. So she's not even on the same page with Bob Iger. That's a major concern right there. That's a major, major concern. You can't trust Kathleen Kennedy. Now, we do know that Deborah Chow will be directing all of the Obi-Wan Kenobi episodes whenever that gets made. It's having production problems now, too. Deborah Chow is amazing. You would think if it is a female director for a movie, it would be her. She directed the 2 best episodes of Star Wars The Mandalorian. So we're just talking about movies for now, but if she was to do it, I think it would be pretty good, depending on the story. And if Kathleen Kennedy is not involved, that's the key. None of this matters at all if the project is not good, if the story's not good, if the script is not good. What's the common denominator with all of these Star Wars projects and all these movies that have been horrible? Kathleen Kennedy is in charge. The buck stops with her. The Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show, the rumor is that it's going back to the drawing board, or they're trying to find new writers and stuff because Kathleen Kennedy didn't like what they put out. Once again, more production problems. So all of this lack of diversity when it comes to Star Wars movie directors, that falls on Kathleen Kennedy. It's her fault. It's her fault. So I guess you can say that Kathleen Kennedy is sexist. She doesn't care anything about female directors, because at this point, I think I just named like 11 male directors, and they're all white. They're all white. And you know how Hollywood feels about white males. Now, we should be hearing something next month about the new Star Wars movie that's supposed to be coming out in 2022. It was supposed to be Benioff and Weiss, but they walked away. We don't know what's going to happen. This thing is a mess right now. Maybe it's that High Republic. And I can tell you this. If it is another white male, which I really don't care one way or the other, the SJWs are going to lose their mind. So let's say that Kathleen Kennedy, she does not renew her contract and she leaves in 2021. Kathleen Kennedy, with all of her woke diversity, will have had nothing but white males make Star Wars movies her entire run. That'll be 9 years of her being president of Lucasfilm. And even if she does announce some female director for the next movie, and she doesn't come back and renew her contract or whatever, she won't be president then. So what do the SJWs have to say then? I wish we can just stop all of the identity politics. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's directing the movies. I can tell you one thing. If they really wanted and cared about diversity in Star Wars, they would go right across the hall and they would get the guy that directed Black Panther, the guy that directed Creed. He is fantastic. You know what I'm talking about. Ryan Coogler. That is a fantastic young filmmaker. If you want diversity and you want somebody that's really good at directing, Ryan Coogler. But no, it can't just be a male. He's a black man. It has to be a female. And chances are, whenever it happens, it may be a white female. I don't know. The problem is Kathleen Kennedy is going to be opening up a bunch of can of worms, a whole bunch of can of worms, because one thing, it'll never be diverse enough to satisfy people. It just won't. Because eventually, you know what's going to happen? They're going to say, well, we need somebody from the alphabet community that's one of the T's to direct the movie. Because they're underrepresented in Hollywood. That's what they're going to say. We know that's what's going to happen. So the cycle would just continue. Kathleen Kennedy, this is the can of worms that you opened up many years ago, talking about diversity. Rian Johnson talking about too many white dudes in Star Wars, and yet all they ever have is old white dudes. This is the way. This is the way of Lucasfilm. So you can't believe anything they say. You can't trust anything that Kathleen Kennedy has to say, because this is the way of Kathleen Kennedy. But that's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Kathleen Kennedy saying a female director will be coming to a Star Wars movie. Do you actually truly believe it? I'm not so sure. But that's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. If you're new here to the channel, please hit subscribe to catch future videos from me, and we will catch you on the next video. John Matrixx, out.